Welcome back to A Word with Yourself with me, Leslie Fenley, and you, Jennifer
Jennifer
Mitchell.
Mitchell. I like that. It's like an old radio announcer.
I know.
Hmm.
Just in case people weren't aware what our names were.
Yeah, yeah,
There
that
we
is
go.
true.
Yeah. So today we're talking about a few things.
What are we talking
And,
about?
well, so first up, we are talking about degrees and their usefulness in
Hmm.
today's environment in hiring.
Yes.
And not that they're totally useless, but that things have changed and the environment has changed. And there's lots of different factors involved now in hiring people based on positions and skills and so on.
Yes. Yes, that is true. We, I don't know, because we're like both at opposite ends of the
Mm,
spectrum.
hmm
So I never finished my degree, and you have a full MBA.
hmm
So,
Somehow.
which, by the way,
Not sure how.
congratulations and well done. I realize this is a few years ago now, but
Thanks.
and so we have like different perspectives of it, but ultimately I think come to the same
Mm,
conclusion,
hmm
which is that degrees, and let's be clear, we're not talking about professions. So like if you
Yeah.
obviously are a doctor or a nurse or
It'd
dentist
be
or a
nice to
vet
have
or a
one.
lawyer, like where you're having specific professional
Hmm
degrees, right, that you need them for. We're not talking about ye. That's not
Yeah.
what we're talking about in this,
So calm
assumed to be
down.
excluded for this from this conversation. In generic corporate world, in the generic corporate world, degrees that like people need to do, like normal corporate jobs. So, marketing and, ops and even
hmm
software development and, all of these different things. Um, Degrees I think have become less useful
hmm
because in a lot of the job descriptions, at least I see online that people are putting out there, it'll be listed under requirement like a bachelor's degree.
hmm
And sometimes, if it's better, it'll be like a bachelor's degree, hope like across this like super broad list of topics. But most of them just seem to be like, I just need a bachelor's degree just because.
Yeah.
And I know there's plenty of people out there with degrees in things that are completely unrelated to the job that they're doing, but needing just to have a degree became a
Mm,
requirement to do this like completely unrelated job.
yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's where
Regardless
I
of what
think
the
they've come
topic
useful,
was.
regardless of what it is. Yeah, exactly. Now,
hmm
obviously, of course, knowledge is has to be learned, but knowledge can be picked up in multiple places.
hmm
So you can start somewhere and like learn a lot of what you need to learn on the job. Um, or you could potentially go and learn it in a classroom, right?
hmm
And I think that there's pros and cons to both, right? Some people
hmm
get, maybe in the classroom you might get a broader view of like every possible scenario, but no real practical application. And then,
Yeah.
in a company you'll get real practical application, but it might be limited to like an specific industry or something. So pros and
hmm
cons to both for sure. Um, but in hiring now, really the best thing you can do to hire is to figure out if the person that is sitting in front of you can do the job you want them to do.
hmm
Like when I'm
hmm
hiring anybody, I just want to know, can you do the job you want you to do? And I'm just trying to figure out how to get that question answered.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, whether they have a degree or not for the types of jobs that I hire for is completely irrelevant.
hmm
Like
hmm
completely irrelevant.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just like an indicator of that of something that can be validated as prior knowledge. So it's a method of
Yeah.
validation in
Yeah.
the absence of other methods of validation.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes
So
they use it as a way to gauge, like, okay, you've completed the degree, so therefore it shows that you're able to, study and learn and, stick to timelines and things like that. And it's kind of like a base for everything, no matter what the degree is in its relation to the
right,
job. It kind of just shows, okay, you're able to commit to something and do it. And that's just like a base for everything.
right, which to me is kind of, if
Mm,
someone has had a job
it's the
for
same.
the same period of time, it's the same thing,
Yeah.
you
Yeah, and
know.
it's good when jobs actually say like bachelor's degree or equivalent years experience.
Yes,
Like
yeah.
that's great.
Yeah. Yeah, because you want to be able to capture like newly grads who have the
Mm,
knowledge and are looking for like their foot in the door. But you
yeah.
also want to be able to capture the people who have this knowledge through like practical on the job application
Yeah.
and are also would be good for this job. You do want to be able to cover both. I think
hmm
what
hmm
annoys me is when you have job descriptions that's like bachelor's degree required, full stop.
Required. Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah.
Like
hmm
no, like any degree.
Yeah, no, I could have an arts degree if I'm applying for a operations manager or a
And the
coder.
answer is yes. Like
Yeah.
this is yeah, the answer is like they haven't thought about the job description too much, and the answer is yes. Yeah, that it doesn't
Yeah.
matter what it's in.
It's just a tick the box.
Yeah. And so I think this is like I think the way that this is going is good because
Hmm.
if we think about DEI and we think about inclusivity,
Hmm.
then it is more inclusive to be able to include everybody that is theoretically able to do the job you're hiring
Yeah.
for,
Yeah.
regardless of how they came to be able to do that
Mm.
job.
Hmm.
Because the ability to access third level education is a privilege that not everybody is able to do. Full
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
For a variety of reasons across multiple countries. Some countries make it easier than others, but like ultimately it is not something that everybody is able to do. I mean, even in Ireland, like
Hmm.
where university is quote unquote free,
Hmm.
as we know, like it's not, like you
Yeah.
still have
Yeah.
to fully be able to pay for accommodation. You have to be able to pay the administration
Hmm.
fees of the university, which have been
They
going up
don't
every
count.
year and are absolutely crazy.
Yeah. They were
Your
like
textbooks,
750 euro when I started in
there's
college, I think.
several thousand now, I think.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
textbooks, God, don't even start.
Textbooks, yeah, another racket. But like
Yeah.
and just like even just like, your accommodation, but also just living costs. So like you need
Yeah.
to be able to fund what people struggle to fund on a full-time job, which
Hmm.
is some
Hmm.
place to live, a place like to be able to feed yourself, pay your
Yeah.
bills, and somehow do all of that without a job. So like it's even
Hmm.
in a country where it's free, it's not free.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so accessing third level education is a privilege that not everybody's able to afford to do.
Hmm.
And that is just a fact of life. And therefore, if you are restricting your jobs to requiring a degree, even when it's not needed for the
Mm.
job, you are by definition being exclusionary,
Hmm.
because you're basically saying that only a certain type or
Hmm.
class of people who were able to
Yeah.
afford that are allowed to apply for your jobs.
I never actually thought of that from the DEI perspective, because
Hmm.
DEI is so big now and so at the forefront of like all things business. Well, it should be if it's not.
Mm,
But that is a way of excluding people.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost a class exclusion, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
there's people of multiple classes are able to access third level education, but like the lower down in the classes that you get, and
The more
lower is the
likely,
terrible way to do it,
yeah.
the less likely you are able to access the third level education. So it is
Yeah.
a class exclusion,
Hmm.
and a wealth exclusion. So, and then when
Hmm.
you even just access any degree, if you were talking about, because in the States particularly, and it's kind of bled out into the rest of the world, and it's a little bit like this in England as well. There are those certain, like you have the Ivy Leagues in the States, you've
Yes,
got
yes.
like Oxbridge in the UK, and so on
Hmm.
and so on. These, what are seen as being the better universities, are
Hmm.
more expensive. They're equally harder to get into. And a lot of
Hmm.
people who get into those are getting in because their parents went there,
Yeah,
or
connections that
they've
they
a lot
have.
of money, or et cetera, or
Yeah,
they've
they donated a building.
yeah, or the reason that they're able to achieve like the necessary prerequisites to get in is because they come from wealthier, more comfortable
Mm.
backgrounds where they haven't
Hmm.
had to work part-time during school.
Hmm.
They've been able to access tutors. They've
Yes,
been
yes.
able to speak to people who understand like how to get in and what those prerequisites
Hmm.
are. Like, so
Hmm.
it is
Yeah.
degrees as a requirement without it being necessary to do the job is a
Yeah.
class exclusion exercise.
Yeah, yeah. I found that here, even in Toronto and Canada, they're very particular about like what
Mm-hmm.
universities you've got your MBA at. And because I
Yeah.
got mine at the University of Warwick, not as well known here.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that that has held me back a lot in applications for jobs and things. Because if I had Ivy, at a university of,
U of T or yeah.
yes, something like that, it would be more like, oh, wow, okay, that looks like they know what they're doing. They've spent a lot of money on this. And, I did spend a lot of money on the Warwick
Yeah.
one, but it's not a classist thing, but a perception thing here. So I'm less likely to get picked over somebody who has an MBA from Ivy or University of Toronto or
Yeah.
McGill or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, even though it's the same degree, pretty good school in England. But yeah, and a lot of jobs that I'm applying for require MBAs as well. So then
They do.
they're cutting out more of a group of people
Mm-hmm.
for that.
And there's an interesting thing as well. There was some studies done on this, and I'd love to be able to try and cite my sources here, but
Hmm.
which
Alleged.
okay, we'll say yeah, alleged. That when you have a job description, the way this is on average.
Hmm. Hmm.
say you have 10 requirements on that job description. If a woman doesn't have all 10 requirements, they likely won't apply for the job.
Yeah, I know
If
what you're
a
talking about.
man has, I think it's something like 4 out of 10, like it's actually a really ridiculously low number, they will still apply for the job. And the thing is, if you've ever been in a position of hiring, you know that most job descriptions get written. You're like, oh, these are all the things I'd like to have.
Yeah.
But like, you don't actually need all of those things anyway. And
Hmm.
like everybody comes in with a different combination of maybe some of those requirements.
Yeah.
And so when you're adding requirements to a job description that aren't requirements, you are not only being exclusionary in kind of a classist way, you are also being exclusionary from the point of view of gender too.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
well, obviously, more men are going to apply, and therefore the
Hmm.
chances are more likely that a man is going to get the job because, say, if
Yes.
80% of applicants are men,
Yep.
it's just, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
Because
numbers.
I've seen job descriptions that I'm like, this job was written for me. I have every
Mm,
single requirement on this job bar the degree,
mm-hmm,
and I would be great in this job. And these days, if I was to apply for something, I just apply for stuff I think I'll be good at and hope that
mm-hmm,
works.
mm-hmm.
But there would have been a time where I would have naturally excluded
Yeah,
myself from applying. And now
yeah,
having later in my career being on the other side of that table,
yeah.
knowing that I'm just trying to find someone who can do the job. And I'm
Mm-hmm,
assuming
mm-hmm.
that most hiring managers are doing the same.
Yeah,
And so in all of those jobs, like historically that I wouldn't have applied for,
yeah.
thinking that, well, I don't have every single
What's the
requirement,
point?
like I don't have the degree requirement, I 100% should have applied for and
Yeah.
probably, would have been semi-successful maybe in some of them,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm. Yeah, you
Um,
wouldn't be where you are now if you did that.
that's true.
You are a good example of somebody who didn't need to do a degree in order to be successful and to move up
Right.
to senior levels. Whereas, I was only saying to somebody yesterday, I haven't really seen the benefits pay off yet of investing in an MBA. They
Mm,
might later on, when they're a senior executive or something like that in a company that ever, that's the way it goes. It's
mm,
good to have that because it shows that you have the kind of 360 view of an organization. But right now, it hasn't really, to me anyway, it might have in ways that I haven't noticed, but I haven't seen direct kind of benefits from it yet.
yeah. Yeah. I know it's
Mm,
interesting, isn't it?
it just
And I think,
depends.
when it probably started, then, the ability to do higher education was exclusive and potentially beneficial
Hmm.
enough that it was
Hmm.
genuinely seen as this is kind of the only way that you would have been
Yeah.
able. But over time, as we know, like you can get a degree in anything, right?
Mm,
And
hmm.
it does, when it's kind of like when most people have it, it loses its value a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
and also because there's so many more avenues that open up now for
Mm,
things like apprenticeships, things like
hmm.
certifications and particular skill sets. So, if you want to
Yeah,
do
there's
project
more options.
management and be a project manager, what is more applicable is, do you have a certification in one or more of the different project
Yeah.
management methodologies? That's more
Yeah.
applicable than a degree.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right. If you want to
Yeah.
be a plumber, like you want to hope that you've done an apprenticeship and become a qualified plumber, which takes just as much as long a time, if not
Hmm.
longer, sometimes. And just like there's things like that, right?
Hmm.
That are just, I think people are becoming more aware that there's multiple routes to
Hmm.
skill,
Hmm.
and that we shouldn't like pin all of our requirements on this like one line.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's true. It's true that it's kind of watered down the value of degrees and things like MBAs. I find here that nearly everyone, I mean, not everyone I meet, but a lot of people I meet have MBAs because you can do them straight out of your undergrad here, which
I
is
know, which is
wild.
crazy.
Like
Yeah.
I wasn't able to do one at home because I didn't have enough experience, and they're like, we'll in a few years come back and like we'll accept you, but you need 5 to 10 years experience before you can even get accepted into the program. Plus, you can't get as big a loans at home. €5,000 was the biggest loan I could get.
Mm.
Couldn't pay for a €25,000 master's degree or
Mm,
MBA, but here they throw credit at you, and so
yeah.
everyone's in student debt, and everyone that yeah, like other people applying for jobs have MBAs for years already because they did them straight out of college
Yeah.
and then they went into senior jobs straight away. Like it's totally different here, for like
Yeah.
more master's levels and things like that, which is crazy considering like we don't think we're that different in terms of the
No,
way
we don't.
our education is. But yeah, far fewer people have MBAs and kind of those higher level master degrees at home because you can't get the credit first of all, and you need
Yeah.
more experience, so
You need
they
more
just don't do it.
experience. I think that's like a big one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's I think that degrees are just becoming like the notion of just having a degree.
Mm.
has become less valuable as like a currency in the job market.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Be more
think
specialized
so more
and
special. And again, I think
experience.
as we've come up with better ways of assessing skill as
Mm.
well.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
like there's lots of like people who like do tests or like, you know, development exercises or like, you know,
Yeah.
create a presentation or like do this little project. You know, we've come up with
Yeah.
better ways of assessing skill than just like, do you have a
Mm-hmm.
degree?
Yeah. You can see
Um,
potential in people and their
yeah.
abilities and things like that too.
So that's made it
Mm-hmm.
easier to not have to rely on that, which I think has been very good too. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then I also this is my hot take on
Okay.
it.
Take of the day.
My hot take is that if I see a job description that has a degree as a requirement, when upon reading the job description, there's no way it should be,
Mm-hmm.
I am assuming that those hiring managers are either not good at their job or lazy
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it takes more effort to come up with a more accurate way of assessing skill for the job.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when people rely on these more kind of older requirements for roles,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
then that's almost like that's I'm looking at that. I'm side-eyeing that company being like,
Yeah.
you're maybe not great though, because if this is your best way of hiring, I'd hate to see what it looks like inside
Mm-hmm.
the company. Right.
Oh God, yeah.
So it's a real hot take that I judge a
Mm-hmm.
whole
Mm-hmm. A whole industry or a whole
whole
company on.
company on
Yeah.
but like I really do think if you don't
I think
take
it's
the
fair.
time to interview well or as well
Yeah.
as you can, then what are you doing, right? Like
Yeah.
your people are not just your biggest expense in the company but
Mm-hmm.
also your best indicator of success if they're doing great. And
Yeah.
why would you not invest more time in that? So yeah, when I see lazy recruiting strategies, i
Yeah.
I list I
Hmm.
watch and I do judge.
Judge. It's completely fair.
I do judge that quite heavily actually.
I think so, yeah. That is fair. It's kind of like our standardization of like working, remote or hybrid or whatever, it takes
Mm,
more effort
takes
to
more
do a
effort.
better job for everybody, but
Yeah.
like the long-term payoffs are better for finding somebody who's more skilled and good at their job,
Yeah.
regardless of a degree or not. The risk that somebody who just has a random degree and a bit of experience, will not do well,
Yeah.
cost you more in the
Right.
long run, So it's like seeing that investment and the risk kind of benefit of it all.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's my hot take
that's your
on
2 cents.
degrees. And not just coming from the
Yeah,
fact that I didn't finish mine, right? Because I've had
yeah,
opportunities to go back and like do another one and I've, picked up bits and
yeah.
I've just never needed
You
to.
never, no, you never needed to,
Never
and
needed
that's
to,
that's
which is
good.
great. But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, that's great. I wish I could go back and not do my MBA.
I don't know.
No,
I think
no, no,
it's
no.
gonna help you out, yeah.
No, I'm glad I did it because it was just kind of a test of resilience more so than anything else, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
More so than the actual content. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just I'll be more particular about the kind of courses I take in the future and kind of maybe do more specific things just to learn different skills and kind of broaden my horizons.
Well, that's it, because I actually
Mm,
started a degree with the Open University in the UK, which I think is a great
mm,
organization, by the way. People should look into it. And
mm-hmm,
I don't really talk about it because, like, it's got nothing to do with work. It's in creative
mm,
writing,
mm-hmm, yeah.
So maybe in and I'm doing it very passively. Like some years I'll do a mod, like a
Yeah,
term, and then I won't for
yeah,
another couple of years. Like you have time to do it because I'm enjoying that as a separate thing.
yeah. So you're
Not
not doing it
because
because you
I
feel like you're
think.
forced to do it in order to find a job,
Yeah,
but it's
and I
something you're
also feel
actually
like it's
just
something that I'm like can
doing for yourself.
learn, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And yeah, but like kind of irrelevant to it, and it'd be nice, again, I consider it a privilege to be able to do that because
Mm,
it's expensive and I can't afford it every year, and
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
but it's just something that I feel has value in learning it.
mm-hmm.
Um, but
Yeah.
like if anybody ever hires me in the future on the back that I have a degree
In
and that
creative
degree is in
writing.
creative writing and they're hiring me for like a tech company, like the side eye would be very
Well, yeah, you're like, actually, you know what? I don't think I want to work
actually
for
I
you.
don't think this is gonna work
No,
out.
your
Yeah,
hiring
yeah.
process isn't very robust.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh God. Well, yeah, that's great. I think yeah, you're totally right. And things are changing. Just like
Things are changing.
things change all the time. But yeah, we're seeing this more often, and it definitely is a better way of approaching hiring
Yeah.
to match skill sets and capability with the job at hand.
And we haven't even gotten into, which we probably don't because we don't have time, maybe another
No.
time. We haven't even gotten into the effects of AI, as in like
Mm.
the effect that AI has on the knowledge
Yeah.
industry,
Yeah.
and how that further kind of degrades
Hmm.
the ability that some of those degrees that are basically knowledge processing,
Yeah.
because it's very much about the human application of knowledge. That is now a really
Yeah.
valuable skill for humans to have because all of these
Yeah.
technologies are starting to take care of these other things. So
Hmm. Hmm.
that's another conversation
Yeah.
for
A
another
topic
day.
for the day.
That
Yeah.
also contributes.
It does. Yeah. And our next topic, we're going to be talking about, the rise in mass layoffs and AI's impact on
Yeah.
that too. So that
Yeah.
all ties in. So we can continue this conversation and add that in next time.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's a series.
Woo! We love a good series. We haven't done a good series in a while, actually.
No,
So,
we haven't. Yeah,
yeah,
this will be
yeah, we were on a
grand.
roll there for a while, and then we were just kind of seeing different things that were
Chatting.
happening. We are like, we better just talk about this. So, all right, we will continue this conversation next time.
Sure will.
Well, it'll be a week or two because Jenny is going to be speaking at a conference in Berlin.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so
Yeah.
we might not record next week, but it'll be the following week, and she can give us a
It'll be
down
the
low
following
on
week.
what German conference entails about tech.
Yeah, I'll tell you everything that's happening on the app protocol and who's spilled it on it. So
Yeah,
you're welcome.
excellent. Thank you so much. All right. Okay. We'll talk to you then.
Bye.
Bye.